What is up, everybody? Chad Ferguson here. So I'm down here doing a little bit of cleanup on my rigging, my 2020 SeaArk ProCat 240. I get tons of questions about transducer installation on the ProCat, so I'm going to go over everything that you need to know to get your transducer in the right place on your SeaArk ProCat Catfish boat. Make sure you get the best clean images out of your Fishfinder installation. So I've got pods on my boat, and that really helps with a lot of different aspects of the ProCat. Having that big live well in the back, having the pods on the back really helps to keep the transom of the boat up out of the water. It helps with running in super shallow water like I fish a lot, but it also creates some complications with transducer installation. But with the newer model ProCats, they've changed the transom design. If you look here, there's a stepped transom. It's different from the older model ProCats where there was not a stepped transom, it was just flat. And that stepped transom helps a lot with this transducer installation. But having pods on here, there's still some complications that you have to work around. So when you're installing a transducer on your ProCat, a lot of people want to default to mounting on this transducer bracket. If you're going to run a 2D or down imaging transducer only, or a high speed transducer, then this is where you want to mount that on this transducer mounting pad here with a pod boat. Now, if you're going to run a side imaging transducer, one of the problems that you have with side imaging is that you'll get interference from the pods. And a lot of times when you're looking at a boat, you see that transducer installation level. You wouldn't think that the transducer would pick up interference from the pods, but they do, especially when you're dealing with those higher frequencies of side imaging, like the mega side imaging or in the 800 kilohertz range. So the way to fix that is by going a little bit lower than this transducer bracket right here that SeaArk has provided. If you're going to run two transducers, you'll put your high speed here, and then you want to put your side imaging transducer down here just a little bit lower. I've mounted mine just a little bit further to the right than I typically install them. I could probably go back and move this over a couple of inches because I still have just a little bit of interference on the left side. When you're mounting a transducer, you typically want to try to stay away from the lifting strakes, which are these little deals right here. You get more cavitation around the lifting strakes than you will anywhere else. If you read any transducer installation manual, they'll tell you not to mount right directly on top of those. But I have mounted mine just almost on the very left side of this strake right here. I still get a little bit of interference on the left-hand side with mega imaging on very rare occasions, but it's not very often, and it has something to do with the weight distribution in the boat. If I get too much weight on the right side, I'll get just a little bit of interference, but it's not enough to worry about. A lot of times on my other boats, I would go a little bit further down here and mount the transducer right in here. But I went a little bit further to the right on this one and just to the left of this lifting strake because I wanted to get the transducer up a little bit higher. Believe it or not, this will affect your speed, and a lot of times it'll cause the boat to list if you get the transducer down too low. And going a little bit further here to the right, like I have this one installed, helps resolve a lot of those issues. I don't have any problems with the boat listing. I don't get, haven't had any speed issues. This boat has actually hit 54.5 miles an hour. It's the fastest ProCat I've ever run, and have no problems at all with this installation location. Now, I'm not running the high-speed transducer. I'm just running this standard transducer, and I can scan usually up to about 7 or 8 miles an hour before I start losing the bottom. I don't need to scan that fast. If I'm looking for fish, I'm usually scanning at about 3 to 4 miles an hour. So this is a perfect location for me and what I'm doing. Now again, one last tip, you want to make sure that the bottom of that transducer doesn't extend below the bottom of the boat. If you have listing issues or you've lost speed with your boat after you've installed a transducer, that usually means you've had your transducer installed too low. If you've got a rooster tail, that transducer is down too low. You want the bottom of the transducer to be even or slightly above the bottom of the transom to make sure that you don't run into any of those issues. I've seen boats that I've helped other anglers with that have lost as many as 6, 7, 8 miles an hour in speed because they have that transducer down too far below the bottom of the boat. Again, if you've got a rooster tail, it's too low, move it up. Sometimes it doesn't take much at all, but you shouldn't be shooting a rooster tail when you're running wide open across the water. It'll force that water up through the transom mount, transducer bracket, shoot it up in the air. If you're getting a rooster tail, it's down too low. So that's some tips on helping you get your SeaArk ProCat transducer installed in the right location. If you like this information, make sure you hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, hit the bell notification. Go down below and let me know if you got any questions at all about transducer installation on your SeaArk boat. I'll be back with another catfishing video in the very near future. Until next time, I'm Chad Ferguson, catfishedge.com.